So I have a quick question that I just want to know, right? And it's always been on my mind. I always meant to talk about it, but I just never have the time to do it. But it's a serious conversation I want to have. Also, a question I want to ask. All right. Do you guys think it's right to kick your kids out the house because either they're gay, either they're mixed up in gang, either they into so many activity that you do not approve of? Just a question as parents. Well, in my opinion, how I feel about it is you should never kick your kids out. I don't think it's a good idea for any parents to kick their kids out because of they gay or because they doing things that they don't like. Just for the simple fact that think about it this way, parents. When you kick your kids out the house because they gay or they doing things you don't like or all these whatever reason it is, and you kick your young child, especially those who kicking their kids out when they're 13, 14, 10, 11, all these ages, crazy ass ages, they kicking their kids out. Don't you think when you do that, you are put them more in a dangerous situation? And what I mean dangerous situation, whereas it's a situation where it's like you're feeding them to the wolves for people to influence them even more and take advantage of them. Not only that, some of them caught up into some things, whereas they are getting trafficked in, where horrible things is happening to them just because you kick them out. Like, I hear a story before, whereas someone was telling a story where they was gay and their mom kicked them out the house. And when their mom kicked them out the house, they was so young at a tender age, they didn't have any money to get by. And they didn't have no one to help them out, so they have to go and get it any way they can. And what I mean by that is they have to go out there and sell their body. When they ended up going out there and sell their body, right, they end up catching HIV. And now they felt like, their life is ruined and all these things that come with, with people's thought process of having HIV, right? Which is it was a very horrible story. And I'm not gonna lie, back then I used to felt like, hear my parents would talk or hear, my grandparents, they would say certain things like, if a child is gay or living those type of life, they cannot live in the house. And at first, I used to agree with it until when I hear the story of the people who ended up getting kicked out because of living that lifestyle and the horrible things they have to go through because they was kicked out. And so much people has taken advantage of them because their parents kicked them out. And their life end up being 10 times worse because the parents kicked them out. I don't think it's right for parents to do that. Like, you putting your child in so much danger. It's like you're feeding them to the wolves. And you're giving the enemy what they want. They want you to kick your kids out. They want you to have your kids go through so much drama and struggle and all these things just so they can take advantage of them when you kick them out. So, parents, we need a different resolution instead of the old back in the days resolution where we're kicking our kids out because they live in a certain life where they when you not approve of their lifestyle, which we are not going to try to take away from the parents, whereas they're disappointed that their kids are living a certain life. That's not what they intended. That's not what they was hoping for. Imagine when you have your little baby and your baby's in your tummy and you hear you having a boy, you thinking all these things like, oh, when he married, when he have children, when all these things happen to him, and just to see that you are not going to be able to get that option anymore. Yes, it's hurtful. We understand the parents' pain, but we got to think about the kids too. Yes, today they like blue, tomorrow they like yellow. These kids, you may never know what's going on with them. Okay, so you can't feed too much into what they doing at the moment. Okay, like kicking your kids out is never the answer. Yes, some kids are bad. Yes, some kids, they got serious problems. Yes, some kids is living life that you are totally not approve of. But you got to understand something just popped in my head. And I got to say it before I forget. Okay? Sometimes you have kids and your kids is nothing like you. Your personality, the way you would handle situation is like the total opposite, right? You ever think that God ended up giving you those kids so you could better understand other people who are that way? You know? Like, not to say like living a certain lifestyle that the parents doesn't approve of is correct, but it's like, you know, kicking your kids out is not the answer. You know how much hurt, how much trauma, how much pain you're putting on that child when you do that. Do you know how it feels when a child is being abandoned by the person that put them in this earth that's supposed to love them and care for them and never to leave them? Do you know how that child feels when you put them in that position? And imagine being, look at us, some of us is in our 20s and our 30s and we still trying to figure it out. Imagine a teenager, okay? Imagine a teenager or somebody younger than that, 11, 10, and you kick them out, misbehaving, getting caught up in the gang, whether they live in a homosexual lifestyle that you not approve of. You know, think about that child, that young child have to go out there being, you know, many things as a parents that we shield our kids from, and when we unshield them by like kicking them out, you know, many other things out there that they are being exposed to, things that they didn't even thought of, but it's like survival mode. Anything go when survival mode kicked in, okay? And as parents, we need to do better. Kicking our kids out is not the answer. And let me tell you, gentle parenting is definitely not the answer too. We need to start disciplining our kids and let them know the truth. Okay? Being gentle is only gonna, either you beat them or they beat you. Okay? So we need to do better. The Bible said, get a rod and spoil the child. If we don't discipline them, how are they gonna learn boundaries? Discipline. Okay, so let's start being there for our kids. You guys don't see the new law, whereas they giving teachers permission to whip your kids. Obviously, they letting us know that we not disciplining our kids, so they're gonna have to get up and do it themselves. Okay, so you know, just find other approach to handle your kids in situation. I know it's not easy, parents. I know you try everything. I know it's a headache, but don't give up on your kid. It's one hell of a thing when a child faces abandonment.